Hey, I'm back, and we are in our textbook Exploring Adobe Photoshop CS6 with CC Enhancements. We're in the last chapter of the text, and I've moved on to the next exercise. We were working with some of the 3D tools previously, and in this lesson we're going to work with 3D text. We're going to work on mapping a texture and editing the material, and I'll demo some of this, probably not all of it. All right, so first thing that you're going to want to do is open 12-2 PSD, do a file and open. You're going to navigate out to where your chapter 12 data files are. All right, and we are going to, just going to see if we're going to save these at all, or save it as something different. I don't see any different files. So once it's open, you'll see that a background is already created for you. Your job is going to be to add some text to it. So we are going to get the horizontal type tool, and we are going to set these specifications in the character panel. Here's the horizontal type tool. And I'm going to go up to Window and bring up Character so I can actually see the character panel and move it over here. And we want bold sans serif typeface. So Arial is fine. I'm going to use Arial, but I'm going to change the style to bold. And I'm going to make the point size 120. I'm going to type that in. And the color of the type should be white. Sorry guys, 255. And we know that 255 value in RGB is all white. It would be the same as all zeros in CMYK. And we want to make sure that the alignment is centered and the leading is tight. So at 120 points, tight leading should be 120, a minimum of 120. We'll see how that works. Or a maximum of 120, sorry. So we are going to type in all caps, winter, spring, summer, fall, each on a separate line. And it will be placed on a new layer. So we are going to type winter, but it's going to be in all caps. And we want it all placed on a new layer. And I'm going to look at figure, let's see if they have it all on one layer. I think they do. So I'm going to come back here, get the type tool, click up here, make sure that I'm on this same layer, and just hit the return, do spring, hit the return, summer, hit the return, and fall. Now I'm going to highlight all this because obviously my leading isn't tight enough, and remember they said make sure the leading is tight, and I set it at 120. Well, let's try 100 for leading and see. No, wait a minute. We want to make sure we're in the leading, so I'm going to bring up the character panel, and this is the leading here. Let's try it at 100 and see if that works better, but I bet we could even tighten that up a little bit. Let's try 90, and I think that's going to work. Still a little tight. And the typeface that we've used is quite a bit different than theirs. I used Arial, and I think they've used, someplace I saw it was a different typeface than I use. So that's probably why the kerning is quite a bit different. And you can change that kerning too. You can, which is the space between the letter forms, or tracking, which is the space between a group of letter forms. We can select them all, and again bring up the character panel, and we can tighten that up a bit. Maybe try -25, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, all right, a little bit better. Now we're going to save this file as 3D type and underscore your name. Still in all caps, but that's all right. All right, now in order to add volume to this typeface, we're going to turn this into a 3D object, and we're going to either click the 3D icon in the options panel, or choose extrude to 3D from the type menu. You can also highlight the text layer and use the 3D panel to create a 3D extrusion from the selected panel or layer. So we're going to come back over here, make sure that we still have the type. Click on 3D. This is the little button to create 3D from text. And then we're going to click and drag the red axis of the camera widget at the bottom left of the window to shift the type slightly to the left. Well, I'm successfully scaling it, but I really want to rotate and not around the Z. Try to rotate it around the x-axis, see if that's what I want. Well, I mean, that's okay, but that's not really what I want to do. We really want to rotate it on the x-axis, or the y-axis, which it should be right here, right? No, let's see. All right, let's try this some more. Here we go. We want to rotate it around the y-axis. Now we are going to highlight the winter, spring, summer, fall layer in the 3D panel. And then in the properties panel, we're going to adjust the extrusion depth to 277. I think it was 277. Let's just type it in. What do you say? Hit tab. Now we're going to click on the face of the text, and in the Properties panel we're going to select the cap option. And then these are the cap option that we want to choose in the Properties panel. So it should be front. The width should be 15. The angle should be 45 degrees. The contour angle is 45 degrees, the strength, and I think that looks like everything that we need to have. And then we can either click and drag the bevel icon or type to the right, figure 12-23, to create a bevel of about 15%. Right, this is how you create the bevel. With these two little icons here, you either click and drag, which is supposed to work. Some reason that's not working so well for me. This other, the front inflation, does work. So now I just have to figure out why this is not working. But I'm not going to take up your time doing that. So we just want to make sure that we are on the cap. And then this is the one that I'm talking about. It's the bevel width that I'm trying to dictate here, and it does not seem to be allowing me to do it, but I'm thinking it must just be because I don't have it, I'm not clicking and dragging in the right spot. Because again, this one certainly works. All right, so I'll have you work with that on your own. And I obviously don't use this a lot, so I'm thinking it just says to drag it in, but there you go. All right, how cool is that? Now we're going to adjust the lighting. So we're going to scroll down in the 3D layer if necessary, highlight the Infinite Light 1 layer, which is right here. And then we're going to click and drag that knob on the widget to about 230 clockwise to create a long shadow, such as it would be either in sunrise or sunset. And I think it's at 230 about clockwise, so we're going to do it at 230. That's 11:30. There's about, this would be 3, right? So 2:30 is about there. And then you can click on the type's shadow to access its properties in the property panel. And then you want to use the properties panel to soften the shadow a bit. And you can see on the image what that does. I'm not so crazy about what's going on here, but anyway. All right, and then you can add some surface material. I'm going to leave you to do that on your own. Let me know if you need some additional demos. Thanks very much. And again, this is week 12, the end of the semester. Holy moly, let me know if I can help you out. Talk to you later.